Yes, my question is for Ian and Paolo. Kasi it's safe to say na you got time to get to know each other, diba, better. What qualities of the other person make him attractive? Or parang ano yung qualities na that make the other person crush-worthy? Parang ganun.
Meet ang question mo ba ay in character or
Real life. Kasi
real life, definitely ang masasabi ko, I already know right away, is si Pao, sobrang palaban niya. And I mean that in the best way possible. As in, isipin mo, parang first time niya experience he's doing is not correct. Ganyan. Kasi si Pao, ang tali-talino niyan. As in, like, top-notcher in like so many things, tas loud eh. So parang like, you'd expect na somebody who's used to that kind of success, parang titiklop at the first sight of failure. Pero siya, like, laban kung laban, like, kahit sobrang hirap siya on set, sobrang lumalaban siya, and like, he picks up really fast. And for me, seeing, yun nga, parang in his first apparent role, like, to me, that is like really amazing. I was like, go Pao! Go Pao! Like, supporting you. Yeah.
Thanks, Paolo.
That's a lot for a question of what do you find attractive, no? So hi, Miss Kate. Well, what do I find attractive? Well, it's not just one thing. I think it's like a constellation of a lot of little things that make up a person. Like, I find you attractive because you seem pleasant, you seem approachable, you're well groomed, and you speak in a very, kind manner. So this is not in character, no? So how do I answer this question?
Bakit daw siya crushable?
Ian, we're talking about Ian. Okay.
Yeah.
Si Ian.
Okay. Ulo. Naubusan na sasabihin. Hindi, for me, initially kasi, as in yung first impression ko pa lang kay Ian, I was already like, oh my God, ang pogi niya. As in Zoom call auditions, like, oh my God, ang pogi niya. I'm trying to figure out why. Well, may tassel yung cortina niya. Hala, mayaman. Gold digger pala. Joke lang. Well, yeah, for the same reasons that I find you attractive, Miss Kate. Yeah, you seem approachable, kind, and then he was able to carry a conversation. So yun, I found
Thank you. Congratulations. And for Juan Miguel, question lang. Kasi when this whole BL craze started months ago, there was that argument na BL series should not be labeled as gay series. What's your take on that?
Oh, this requires a dissertation paper. Pero in short, okay, I believe that every genre starts employing certain oppressive and problematic elements. But every genre also undergoes revisionism. Genres, not history. It's very important na mag-revise some genres the moment that they start oppressing, they start peddling oppressive oppressive status quo. For example, in the case of BL, I mean no disrespect, by the way, sa mga female writers ng BL, na parang some people are saying kasi na parang this cannot be BL because it's written by a gay man. So ako, parang if you don't want to call it BL, then okay, I'm not going to call it BL. I'm going to call it a romantic comedy. Pero sa akin is parang I think we should be open sa mga klase ng revisions na pwedeng pagdaanan ng isang genre. Kasi for example dito sa BL ang naging problematic kasi before na recurring na element sa mga BL ay kapag sinabi ng isang lalaki na I don't like men, I just like him, meaning hindi ako bakla, exception lang siya, which may be true for some people, but kapag inulit siya ng inulit, may nangyayaring erasure of the queer identity of being gay. So So yun yung ano lang na parang I think since tawag dito, Karen take back our own story. Sorry paulit-ulit na lang ako sa tagline namin. Pero yeah, I think it's about time na marinig natin yung mga bakla. Kahit alam nyo kung kahit ano pa yung itawag ng label sa kanila. As for me, it doesn't matter kung tawagin nyo itong BL or hindi. Ang importante sa akin ay mas maraming bakla ang makapagkwento ng kwento ng mga bakla. And that goes for lesbians too, for people of trans and femme experiences. They should all be allowed to tell their own stories.
And Paolo, because you haven't mentioned if you guys were handpicked or auditioned for the role, and if you did, from what I heard, only one of you has acting experience. Then the other one has zero experience in acting. So paano yon na hinon, paano winorkshop, paano sinwak? Was there a sensual workshop? Was there a chemistry workshop between the two? Go ahead, Ian.
I think for the casting process, baka better if si Gege yung magsalita about it.
But did you audition for the role?
Yes.
Okay. Paolo, did you audition also for the role?
Oh, hi MJ, it's nice to see you again. Yeah, I auditioned for the role. Parang they had these forms online that that linked to a drive where we could send the tapes, and it also had these instructions and then the scenes and then the script. So it was a whole process of auditioning. We had to go back, I think thrice for us before we had to go back twice. So it was 3 times that they saw us before they thought that, hey, they're locked in already.
So you wanted to do this?
Yes, I'm the one who did not have acting experience. The only ones you see me were one out there of our one-liners, me just opening the door, and the other is just 10 seconds where I was wearing a face mask. So that barely counts as acting experience, and I really did not consider myself as a legitimate actor prior to this. With the workshops, we had, I don't know if you call it chemistry workshops, but then I heard the term Stanislavski being dropped around all the time while so maybe that was it. So that was just basically, but you mentioned earlier then warming up. So, or did you actually mention warming up?
Parang ganon, parang getting the rapport, chemistry.
Getting the rapport, the chemistry. Yes, we had a lot of that. I think this obviously naman to make people feel na kilig, diba? Because it doesn't have a translation, right? So yun. So we had a lot of those, and we also spent a lot of time together in the same space, so that we could easily get triggers for when Carl and Vlad would experience a lot of things, such as annoyance, trying to patience, and then just trying to work through the menial tasks of the day. So yes, we did have a lot of that. And the process was especially for me, it was something new that I didn't experience then. As you would probably know, that I was then a gymnast, a cheerleader, so everything was just following a strict set of rules that were already in a textbook or already in a code of points, or diba, it's already out there and it's very performative. Whereas here, one of the misconceptions that I had with acting was that it was very performative. It was you showcasing something to the world, and then any time that I did that, or I had that in mind before the camera started rolling, it only ended up failing me, that that thing in my mind. So these workshops, I think ultimately what they done for me is to make myself become more empathic, to listen, and to just
connect with your co-actor.
No, it's more of like being able to just simply put yourself in another person's shoes, and just be able to be there in that moment.
Okay.
Tell me about the dynamics of your friendship, yung kay Carl and Vlad, that eventually developed into something romantic. And then how did you land your respective roles?
So, do you want to answer the question first, Ian? Or how do you want to go about it?
Sige. I think for me, yung character ko, before anything.
Without spoiling anything, ha? If you don't want to spoil anything.
Yes, yes, yes. I think my character definitely has like a life of his own. You know what I mean? Parang he has goals of his own. He has his own aspirations in life. And kung baga, ang masasabi ko talaga sa character ko is his life is not about this whole romantic side. Which is why I think super interesting yung dynamic between Carl and Vlad because here are two very different people with different goals and different lives. And they happen to interact with each other. And parang kumbaga, the love there is not the end goal, but rather parang, wala, it just fell into place. Parang ganun. Parang without spoiling it. I think that's how I describe the relationship.
Spontaneous siya.
Mm. And to add to that, I think yung
Okay.
dynamic in relationship nila is mostly at first, well, it encompasses so many different levels, and you've already been able to see at least one big debate. They are in mutual need of each other because the other needs to have his rent paid, and then the other is trying to hide from his sister. So that was a strong compelling force for them to try to work hard together. We're referring to Carl and Vlad. Whereas in working with Ian, it was very easy for me to warm up to him. Wow, or if I could use like a better expression someday. Na because Ian was already talented to begin with, and so the script, and then I just read something. Sorry, and so the script, and then everything else that was just around Carl, because I really just see him as the observer, and then the as egotistic as it may sound, that the show revolves around him interacting with these so many different stimuli. So for me, it was just first the dynamics started from a mutual need for each other and then started to blossom because they saw so many different sides of themselves reflected in the other. And it was also, as I saw it as well in real life, found it that they found it easier to express themselves more completely and easily with each other.
For Ian and Paolo, uh, how do you think po yung characters nyo would help those youths na currently questioning their sexuality come to term with what they're feeling and what the society tells them to feel?
Ako naman personally, I feel like kasi parang just by creating characters that are real and layered and have their own lives and parang parang their identity is not just like the gay best friend, is not just comic relief. Parang by creating these characters, you show all of these queer kids and queer people growing up na parang being gay or lesbian or transsexual does not automatically like have to mean for you na you have to fall into all of these different stereotypes. Na parang you are real, you are a unique person, you are somebody who parang alam mo yun, should not have any expectations put upon you by society. In creating characters like that through the series, parang yun yung talagang end goal here, Parang for somebody to watch it and be like, oh my God, that can be me. So yan.
Kay Paolo po.
For me, I agree. The best thing that you could do, especially in my case, that I am a member of the community, so that's already something that parang a lot of them would be able to relate to come the time na parang they're able not to find out na parang to be interested in the series. So yeah, the main challenge talaga for me was to just make it as real as possible, to give a nuanced, succinct, and not just a visual character, but the character, a character that exists in a lot of, in not just one dimension, it not just an archetype. So yun, for me, the best thing that I had offered for this project for the kids to know that this is possible for them is to make it as relatable as possible, because even though na hindi kami pare-pareho ng gusto, iba-iba kami.
Nakakakab.
Sorry. Ay, yun, na iba-iba kami ng gusto. Feelings are universal, so they would be able to relate to it either way. Kasi yun, totoo si Carl. Nakikita nila na may pagkakaiba sila, may pagkakapareho sila kay Carl, kay Vlad. At sa tingin ko, yun ang malaking magiging impact nito kung nagampanan ko yung tungkulin ko bilang ako.